Tonight on Golf Central, no word yet if Phil Mickelson will tee it up this week in the Career Builder Challenge, but we do know he is in the California desert and putting his clubs to work. Details ahead. World number 2 Rory McIlroy may be out of the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship, but there's still plenty of star power ready to compete. An update from the Middle East awaits. And with the LPGA kicking off its season next week in the Bahamas, who better to talk to than the commissioner himself? Mike Wan joins us live in studio to discuss a variety of topics, including one that involves President-elect Trump. All this and much more right now on Golf Central.
Golf Central, brought to you by Titleist.
It has been nearly 3.5 years since we've seen Phil Mickelson step into the winner's circle, but he was awfully close last season with 4 top 3 showings. One of those was at this week's stop on the PGA Tour, the Career Builder Challenge. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. Glad to have you along with us tonight for Golf Central. Lisa Cornwell, Trip Eisenhower, Matt Adams will get some insight from these fellas in just a moment, but first an update on Mickelson's status. We've talked about some of the situations with Phil before. For that update, we take you live to La Quinta, California, where George Savaricas is standing by. George, we're all still waiting to find out if Phil is indeed playing this week or not after undergoing 2 hernia surgeries late last year. He is in the area, though. What's the latest on Lefty?
Lisa, I can't tell you definitively yay or nay if he's going to be teeing it up in Thursday's opening round in the Career Builder Challenge, but he's clearly going to give it everything he has to try and play in this, his first year as the tournament ambassador, basically the de facto host for the Career Builder Challenge. Today, he is playing at Madison Club with a few of his fellow PGA Tour pros trying to get game ready. He's going to make the decision if he's going to play this week, either later tonight or tomorrow. A lot of it is going to depend on how his back feels after playing today at the Madison Club. Like you mentioned, he had 2 sports hernia surgeries, the first coming in October, the second in December. At the beginning of the year, it seemed like an absolute long shot for him to even consider playing in the California desert. All along, the Farmers Insurance Open was the more likely starting point for 2017. Even those close to Mickelson a couple weeks ago were highly skeptical that there was any chance he would be in this event. Flash forward to this past Saturday. He played his first 18-hole round. Since then, he's been practicing, playing with fellow pros, competitive rounds to try and get himself game ready for this event, one that he's won twice in his career. And Camp Mickelson is a bit gimpy. It's not just Phil. His caddy, Jim Bones Mackay, had both his knees replaced in the offseason, a procedure that normally, if you're going to play competitive golf, would need about 6 months of rehab. How much heart he has, he's already out here with Mickelson this week, hoping they can start their 2017 year, Lisa.
And George, from a 2-time winner of this event to a guy who captured his second PGA Tour victory here back in 2014, what's the update on Patrick Reed after starting his 2017 season at Kapalua with that tied for 6th finish?
Patrick Reed was saying he enjoyed a nice month off before playing in the Tournament of Champions. He had that tie for 6, which you just mentioned. This is what he considers really the heart of his season. This is where it all gets going. Kapalua is where you're able to tell which parts of my game need to be fine-tuned. He's got that week in Hawaii out of the way. Now he's ready to really shift it up a notch as he gets ready for his third time playing in the Career Builder Challenge.
Get out of your own way. Go out and play some good golf and, be aggressive and attack the golf courses because, around here with how awesome the weather is every year, you have to make birdies. You have to go low. And, that was just the difference between the year I won and a year like last year where the year I won, I made a lot of putts, made a lot of birdies, and last year I made a lot of pars. You're using the year, every event for every major you're about to come up to play. And really the main thing for me is to make sure the golf bag gets set with how I want to. Make sure the golf swing's where I want it to be, and when I get to majors, quit tinkering. Go out and play with the 14 clubs that got you to that point, and go out and do your job. And I feel like every major I tried to, bring in some wedges that have less bounce for Augusta, like a 2-iron or 1-iron for the British, all this kind of stuff. So I'm tinkering too much rather than just going out and playing golf because the normal set I play with, those are what I've won with. So why change?
Patrick Reed just had his press conference a few minutes ago. He's asked about one player who's not in the field this week, who's already won 3 times this season on the PGA Tour, and Justin Thomas. The question was if he's happy that JT decided to take the week off. Not surprisingly, Patrick Reed said, you know what, I wish he was here. I want to play a guy who is playing his best right now this week in the Career Builder Challenge, Lisa.
Yeah, JT probably enjoying some extra time in Hawaii, no doubt. Why not? George, thank you very much. All right, the lowest, speaking of Patrick Reed, the lowest 54-hole score to par on the PGA Tour all time belongs to young Patrick Reed, 27 under in the 2014 edition of the Career Builder Challenge. They always go low out there in the desert, but that was exceptionally low, especially when you're setting records on the PGA Tour. Let's talk Patrick Reed, guys, because look, here's a player. He's talked about being in the top 5 all of his career. He's getting awfully close, but the fall portion of the season maybe not up to what we're used to seeing from him.
Well, I thought what I'd see from Patrick Reed after the Ryder Cup, his inspired play, and that is some of the best play I've seen in a Ryder Cup all time. He was taking down Rory McIlroy, who arguably was the best player on the planet at the time. He was standing toe-to-toe with him, taking him down. He was holding shots from the fairway. I thought, okay, here we go. Patrick Reed is now going to play the fall part of the schedule. He usually plays a lot. He played 4 times. He only had 1 top 10 in the fall, and that came at the 18-man field of the Hero Challenge. So I was a little surprised by that, but I think the rest has done him good stead because he started the year with a top 10 at a place at Kapalua where he's had a lot of success in the past. So that's good news for me. And the other thing I really like, Lisa, is what he said about majors. Because it's puzzling to me, a player like Patrick Reed, who's number 9 in the world, has never had a top 10 in a major championship. And I think the Ryder Cup and what he said about not tinkering, not trying to change things. Look, play the golf that got you there. It's good enough to get me here, so it's good enough for me to win. And he needs to do no further math than draw on that Ryder Cup because that was just so inspirational play. And I think Patrick Reed is poised to have a good major campaign in 2017.
And I think it was that Ryder Cup that answers the question as to his performance in the fall. He had 28 events that he played in 2016, 27 the year before that, 28 the year before that. I just think that he was tired. And what he did at that Ryder Cup against Rory McIlroy, as you talked about, the pointing finger, the no soup for you, it was such a high for him. He even said the very next term he played in, he couldn't play. He couldn't swing the club. It's interesting because right now in Europe, they say of Patrick Reed, they call him Captain America. I think he could just be Captain America. He had a couple quotes that I loved. He said, quote, "I don't like to read. If I do my job on the course, I figure I read enough greens." He was also quoted as saying that the only thing he puts on his feet are cowboy boots and golf shoes. That's an exaggeration, obviously, but I reached out to Jim Furyk for a quote from the United States Ryder Cup captain as to the significance of Patrick Reed and where he sees him going. And he said to me today, quote, "In other sports, he'd be the guy who wants the ball. I love his fire and I love his passion." I think that, end quote, I think that fire hardens steel. I think Patrick Reed is a different player now because of the experiences that he's gone through, because he is a father now as well. And I know the detractors will talk about his performance in the major championships. I think we're going to see a Patrick Reed in 2016 we haven't seen before.
I think one thing he reads,
2017, so.
tweets. I see him on Twitter all the time. He's reading those tweets, responding to them, so that's pretty good. PGA Tour returns to the mainland where past champions Patrick Reed, Jason Duffner, Bill Haas, and golf's up-and-coming generation will all battle in the California desert. Our coverage of the Career Builder Challenge begins Thursday, 2 Eastern. Rory McIlroy announced yesterday that he will not be able to compete in this week's Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship because of a stress fracture in his rib. Tim Rosafort is in the Middle East this week, and he called in on Morning Drive with an update on McIlroy.
The only real fresh news I had that he traveled to Dubai, where he has a place and where he's worked out before, and presumably getting treatment there. I do know the plan still is for him to start in the United States at Riviera. That's 4 weeks away, so that's possible or doable. Obviously, the tournament's going to miss him, but this is still a big event. Euro Desert Swing starts this week. Billboards are coming to town. Of course, Rory's up on there, but so is DJ and Ricky and Stenson, and those 3 or 4 major winners. You got Fitzpatrick and Peters, the Ryder Cup hero, Poulter making his return. it'll just be interesting how it plays out as it relates to Rory. Ricky came in a news conference today and was talking more big picture about Rory really than he was playing in Dubai in a couple of weeks, making the point that while it's disappointing, it's a long season, and obviously you don't want to make the wrong move and then miss out on the first major championship of the year.
Dustin Johnson makes his Abu Dhabi debut when he tees it up alongside Henrik Stenson, defending champion Ricky Fowler, and a host of European Tour powerhouses. Our coverage of the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship begins tonight, 10:30 Eastern. Can't even blame it on the Southern accent.
Wednesday night.
Oh, there you go. You won't want to miss what's coming up next. John Feinstein and Jeff Shackelford. They exchange blows on a few of golf's biggest topics, including one that involves Tiger versus Phil. Plus, LPGA Commissioner Mike Wan joins us live in studio. We'll ask him about all sorts of topics, from the Solheim Cup controversy a couple of years ago to the youth movement on tour. That's ahead. This is Golf Central.
Golf Central is brought to you by the new Titleist NXT Tour and NXT Tour Ass. Innovation that matters. The Hawaiian Islands. Visit gohawaii.com/golf.